Nadu and Grief are both banned from Modern, and it's about time too. Alongside this, Wizards announced some changes to Pioneer/Explorer, Legacy and Vintage too. But in this video, I'm focusing on the Modern changes, which decks win or lose from this announcement. The first and most important announcement is of course banning Nadu, and I want to say, well done Wizards. You banned the problem rather than the problem's friend. You've learnt your lesson, and I think this was a very good ban. Now let's look at why. Firstly, Nadu absolutely dominated the last Modern Pro Tour, taking up 5 of the top 8 slots and having an insane 59% win rate. Secondly, it had an absurd overall win rate against the field just in general, being at 58% across the whole of August. And then thirdly, it has a very degenerative play pattern, leading to long games that are very repetitive and boring for your opponents. Now, as you can imagine, there are lots of decks that win from this ban, simply because Nadu dominated most matchups, with some decks completely pushed out of the meta, mostly due to this card. Straight away, mine goes to Mono Black Necro Dominance, Boros or Mardu Energy, and Jeskai Control, simply because they're the 3 next best Modern decks right now. However, Nadu has had such a hold on the meta that I believe its banning will allow new decks to rise up and thrive. So in order to identify these decks, we'll reverse engineer it by looking at Nadu's win rate against different decks in August, just to see a few of the decks that were bullied out of the meta the most. Nadu beat Hammer Time 74% of the time across 19 matches. Prior to the release of Modern Horizons 3, Hammer Time was a top contender in the Modern format, but has been completely pushed out by Nadu. This could be its chance for redemption. Nadu beat 4-color Omnath 79% of the time across 14 matches. This deck thrives against fair decks, and Nadu is one of the least fair decks we've ever seen. Depending on how the new meta dust clears, Omnath could climb back up to the top. Nadu beat Jund Saga 83% of the time across 12 matches. Jund Saga even gained access to some new goodies to try out in Modern Horizons 3, but Nadu is uniquely consistent and resilient as a combo deck, meaning the disruption Jund tried simply wasn't enough. Nadu beat Mono Green Tron 100% of the time, but this is only across 5 matches, so please take it with a pinch of salt. However, it is worth noting that this deck is already in a reasonably good place, so it should settle in an even better spot. Now moving on to Grief, we have to look back to before Modern Horizons 3 was even released. Black Red Scam was the most dominant deck in Modern, and I believe that one of the main reasons, justifiably so, to ban Grief is to make sure it doesn't suddenly resurface due to the Nadu ban. But even in the current meta, it still sees a lot of play in Mono Black Necro Dominance, Esper Goryo's Vengeance and Living End, all decks that get better post Nadu. But Wizards have openly said that Grief, and I quote, is one of the least fun parts of competitive Modern events. Now, in order for Wizards to make money, their game needs to be fun, therefore earning Grief a well-deserved ban for making the game less fun. Now, they did also mention that they considered banning the One Ring too. However, even though it's present in many different decks, it doesn't present as obvious of an issue as the previous 2 cards, therefore surviving this round of bans. I think these were some excellent bans and leaves Modern in a very open, exciting and fair playing field. My only concern I have is that the energy decks might now run rampant, so make sure to check out this Modern video for a Jeskai twist on the Boros energy deck, as well as some other Modern lists as inspiration for the new Modern format.